So let's talk about the NFL MVP. Okay.
Oh boy.
This is tough. And I am, if anything but fair. We have a monopoly on the truth here at Stuff About Sports. All right. I will preface this segment by saying I am a Buffalo Bills fan, but I am, if not anything, a just and fair God. So, that being said, of course, Josh Allen is the goddamn NFL MVP. And it's not even close. It's not even a discussion that Josh Allen is the MVP, gentlemen. And if you want to if you just want to look at the box score and read just stats off of a sheet with no context, that may be cool for some of y'all out there. I, too, used to read at a third grade level. Okay? That's GED shit. We're all educated gentlemen. We know how to watch the game. Watch the game. Watch the football games. Josh Allen is clearly more valuable to his team than Lamar Jackson is to his. Now, that's not me saying that Lamar Jackson is trash or he's overrated or he's a bum, like a lot of you people in my comments are trying to make it out to be. You idiots. No, nobody's saying that. It's close. And then all you have to tell me is, oh, look at week 4, 35-10. Okay, cool. You guys also, the Ravens also lost to the Raiders and the Browns. So every quarterback has bad losses. Shit happens. But watch the games. We can go into advanced analytics and we can go to this. And I probably won't be mad if Lamar wins it. But here's the problem. Stats, if you're going to read off stats, then Joe Burrow should be the MVP, considering he's first in basically every quarterback stat. But now you're telling me the stats don't matter. And I'm not even talking about last year when Josh Allen and Dak Prescott had better stats than Lamar and he won it. So now you are making it not about stats. You can't have it both ways. So now for discount, and why is not Joe Burrow in the MVP discussion, guys? What is it? Like, losses, right? He has 8 losses. So if we're using losses as an argument to why Joe Burrow can't be MVP, let me ask you guys, who has more losses on the season? Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. So which argument is it? You Lamar Jackson apologists out there are stupid. And I use that word in the fullest seriousness and the fullest, by the truest definition. You're stupid. All you're doing is looking at the box score and you're just looking at the 4 basic stats and you're calling an MVP when you're being hypocritical and not looking at the stats from last year. And now you're not using wins because you're discounting the stats again, because Joe Burrow is technically the best quarterback in the league, according to the stats. So your argument is you just want Lamar Jackson to win his 3rd consecutive MVP without actually watching the football games. Anybody who tells me Lamar's the MVP, you're dumb. You have an agenda. You're on some Ryan Clark shit. You're on some Stephen A. Smith shit. I don't want to hear it. There's no argument for Lamar Jackson. He has Derrick Henry, an 1,800-yard rusher. Matt Collins is Josh Allen's best skill player. I don't want better coaching, better schemes, advanced analytics. The Ravens receivers are getting better separation than the Bills receivers. Josh Allen is responsible for 80% of his total team's yardage by himself. Lamar Jackson is only responsible for 68. And I say only in terms because they should never be that high for a quarterback. But because we're talking about 2 elite talents and we're talking about the MVP, that's the line of demarcation for me. So now, because if you want to say it's a close race, what do you have to go by? The Bills have the 2 seed, the higher seed, and they have the better record. How else are you going to determine the MVP by that, other than watching the games? I'm sorry that was such a long-winded answer, but some of these people in the comment section got me fired up. And I'm sick of this stupid argument because people don't know what they want. You're making one argument, but you're discounting the past. You're choosing to ignore statistics, or not statistics. You're choosing to ignore facts, and it bothers me. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think your argument obviously carries a lot of weight, right? When we're talking about the MVP, it is the most valuable player, not necessarily the most valuable quarterback, even though history trends it to either be a QB or running back that gets this award in itself. I think when you're looking at it and what you just described, it's Josh Allen. Not only are his numbers up there, but when you add in the fact that he elevates every single piece of talent around him. And what we have to keep reminding ourselves is this is a season right after he lost his number one wideout in, Stephon Diggs. And take nothing away from Lamar. He is having a great season. I mean, to put up over 800 rushing, even when you have the likes of a Derrick Henry in the backfield too, is incredibly impressive. But, if it's between those two individuals, I'd have to give it to Josh Allen. It's what he's doing with that team, and the wins alone, Jerm, like you said, should put him in that category. I can't stand this Joe Burrow talk, to be completely honest with you. I think it's ridiculous. It's like basically hurtling right over Saquon. And it's one of those things where, I get if you want to talk Lamar and Josh, but I mean, God, you got to throw Barkley in there too, right? Joe Burrow shouldn't even be sniffing the top 5 right now. And you're right. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Great performance. But as you put it on socials, a lot of garbage time stats that's being thrown up there. And if you're only looking at stats, that's where it kind of gets lost in translation. He's not helping he's doing his best to help his team win. They're still losing. It shouldn't be there through and through. If you want an honorable mention, throw Sam Darnold in there. Yeah. He is also performing at his peak, elevating talent around him. Now, granted, you have the likes of Justin Jefferson on the team and so on, but still one of those things where if we're going to reward quarterbacks for putting up huge numbers in an unexpected manner, then throw Sam Darnold in there. Still not going to win over Lamar or Josh. I think it's going to be Josh, and Vegas certainly has it going that way. But, I'm sure there are some individuals out there that would love to see 3-time consecutive MVP winner, just like we have a lot of people rooting for the Chiefs so they can go 3-peat this year too.
Yeah, the thing with Joe Burrow, like, why is Joe Burrow leapfrogging Jared Goff, not just Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Why is he, you know what I mean, and Saquon Barkley? Why is Jared Goff not being mentioned in the same light? Again, looking at box stats. And Josh Allen is not going to play in the final game against the Patriots. I think he's going to play 1 or 2 series because he has consecutive start streak that he's trying to extend. But he's not going to play enough. Now, him and James Cook are a touchdown away apiece from tying O.J. Simpson's single season rushing touchdown record. So I would assume James Cook is probably going to play a little bit more and give him that kind of honor. If Josh Allen is an MVP favorite, it's just kind of something for me to go by or to give flowers to James Cook. Dwayne Marcus, before you go, I just wanted to say the one thing I missed in my argument, because I got all fired up, is not just about stats, but individual great moments. What is the greatest moment of the season so far? Josh Allen beating the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. The team that is going to finish, well, probably the Chiefs are going to rest all their starters against the Broncos, so maybe they'll end the season with 2 losses. But basically, that's kind of an asterisk, right? Like they're really going to be a 16-1 team theoretically. But you have Josh Allen, who's the first player since the NFL merger with 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. He's the first quarterback ever for a passing, receiving, and rushing touchdown in a game. You know what I mean? First quarterback in NFL history with multiple games of 340+ passing yards, 60+ rushing yards, and 2 passing touchdowns with 2+ rushing touchdowns. And he did it in back-to-back weeks. He did it against the Lions, and he did it against the Rams. And he lost the game to the Rams, but it's hard to say he lost it. The defense lost it, and of course he beat the Detroit Lions. Again, beating the best team in the AFC and the best team at the time of the NFC. So it's not just stats, raw stats. It's also moments, like when you rise to the occasion. That's another reason why I think Josh Allen should be favored. And then the narrative argument. There is a narrative. It is Josh Allen's turn. It's just like the NBA. Like, it was Joel Embiid's turn. You can't be so great for so long without getting at least recognized by the NFL for it. And I think Josh Allen has done enough to get that this year. And I think it is because what you said, Bert, he's just doing more with less. He is indeed a one-man show. Go ahead, Dwayne Marcus.
I was with you until the narrative part, just because both Drew Brees and Russell Wilson should have at least one MVP to their name. If you think about
narrative to this, yeah, I got you.
I know what you mean, but if we're going on like it's their turn, Drew Brees and the rest have one. Listen, here's my thing, and I'll just keep it really short and quick and really simple. and this isn't just an NFL thing, this is an NBA thing as well. Clearly, every year, the definition on what an MVP is changes.
Yeah.
And until we decide collectively as a fandom, as media, as players, whatever, what an MVP is, we're always going to have these really stupid arguments. Because if the MVP is based on who has the best stats, then Bert, Jerm, whether you guys like it or not, Joe Burrow is the MVP of the league because he's leading quarterbacks and everything, right? If the MVP is who has the most wins, then you're looking at essentially whoever wins this Week 18 game on Sunday night between Jared Goff and Sam Darnold and who plays better. That would be the MVP, right? If you're telling me that the MVP is the most valuable player, which player is the most valuable to their team? Josh Allen is the MVP. And it's not particularly close. The only thing that we've agreed on as a society is that the only position that has a head start every season on MVP consideration is the quarterback, because that's the most valuable position, which is fine. We all know that quarterbacks are the most valuable players on each football field. There are only a handful of teams that you look at and you say their best player isn't their quarterback, right? So that's fine. I got you. The MVP's Josh Allen. And to the people that want to throw out the, Lamar Jackson beat Josh Allen head to head, if you look at that game, neither of them threw over 200 yards in that game. Lamar Jackson probably had multiple touchdowns just because it was a blowout, but neither of them played exceptionally well in that game.
Yeah.
So we can toss that out, right?
That was a Derrick Henry game for sure.
That was also, as you mentioned, Jerm, just now, a Derrick Henry game. Lamar Jackson has more losses with a better coach, a better offensive line, better receiver core, and a better defense. So, and also, by the way, Josh Allen has more wins in a year that most people consider this as a rebuilding year because he lost his number one wide receiver. So if you're asking me who the most valuable player in football is, it's this season, and it is Josh Allen. It's not because it's Josh Allen's turn. It's not because Lamar Jackson's already won it twice with a chance to win it for a third time, not consecutive time, just third time, right? It's not because Patrick Mahomes isn't playing greater because Joe Burrow doesn't have any wins. It's just quite simply because no one has been more valuable to their football team than Josh Allen this season. And it should really just be that simple. And if you don't like that, then you're an idiot. And that's, I don't really have anything else for you.
Teams, when they face the Ravens, they not only have to prepare, defensive coaches not only have to prepare for Lamar Jackson, they have to equally prepare for Derrick Henry. When teams prepare for the Bills, they really only have to prepare for Josh Allen. That should tell you everything that you need to know. And again, I say all that to say, am I going to storm the building and go crazy if Lamar Jackson ends up winning it? No. But keep in mind, Lamar has played 50 more snaps. And if you want to leave him out, he actually has more turnovers. I don't know why people are not counting. They're only looking at interceptions, again, because they're idiots with GED mentality and only look at interceptions when they don't think about the turnovers. Fumbles are turnovers too, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know. I don't know if y'all know that. But fumbles are also turnovers, and Lamar has more turnovers than Josh Allen. So, again, the teams are trying to stop Derrick Henry. That game against the Bills was all Derrick Henry. From the first play, from that 70-yard run or whatever he had in that first play, he set the tone. The Bills have no defense. It's nuts. So anyway, Josh Allen is the MVP.
Can I just say real quick, Jerm, because you just said you wouldn't mind if Lamar won in
No, I wouldn't go crazy because he is.
No,
I would.
I would, and I'll tell you why. In the history of football, Lamar Jackson is one of 10 quarterbacks with at least 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Right. If he wins a third one this season, he would join Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Johnny Unitas, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning as the only quarterbacks in league history with at least 3 MVPs. Do you know which one of those quarterbacks don't have a Super Bowl win? It's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
You know which one of those quarterbacks haven't even been to a Super Bowl? It's Lamar Jackson. So the reason why I would have an issue with it is because a third MVP for Lamar Jackson, while it would probably stamp him in the Hall of Fame if he's not there already, it's going to make the Lamar Jackson discourse that much more insufferable.
No.
And then I'm going to have to be the guy that has to go on Twitter and Threads and TikTok and Instagram and even here or wherever else and remind all these idiots out here that when it's time for Lamar Jackson to play meaningful football in December and January, he can't do it. He sucks. He gets worse. And then I'm going to be called a hater, and they're going to say I'm hating on a black man and I'm hating on the Jet and I don't want him to be great. I love Lamar Jackson. I've said it time and time again. He's a box office attraction. But a third MVP for Lamar Jackson is going to cause me physical pain and emotional pain and spiritual pain. And I don't want to have to be that guy. I would like for us to just be able to live in a world where Lamar Jackson remains the only 2-time MVP without a Super Bowl appearance, because that's a much easier agenda to fight than if he's a 3-time MVP. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just for my own personal sake, I don't want to have to be that guy the day after he's named MVP to be like, yeah, well, he hasn't played a game in February in his career. Despite the fact that with tears in his eyes, he looked at Deion Sanders on draft night and promised that Baltimore would get a Super Bowl out of him. And when he had a chance last season, he threw the ball in triple coverage to Isaiah Likely. So
shout out to Franco. Love the authenticity of this pod. Amazing. So raw and real. Appreciate you all. No, Franco. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing love. Appreciate that. We are the best sports podcast on the World Wide Web.